Hey everyone, it's Brett from Hope to Prosper. I'm hiking today up in San Juan Capistrano near my house, and I'm really happy that it's 75 degrees at the trailhead instead of the 98 that I hiked in Pasadena. Anyways, thanks for coming along on my adventure today. The subject is my dad's early retirement dream. I think you'll find it interesting and fun. Alright, thanks for coming along, and we'll talk in a little bit. So my dad's name was George Froelich, and he was an aerospace engineer. Specifically, he was a draftsman. And that was back in the old days when they didn't have CAD. You literally sat over a drafting board with a T-square and pencils, and you drew missile parts. He was talented, but he didn't necessarily like his job. In fact, he kind of hated it. He felt, number one, it made his eyes hurt, made his back hurt, just drawing all day. And then more important, they would push him to get his projects finished, then they would lay him off. Being an engineer, he always got laid off, which affected us in the family a lot. And so that was one of the things he didn't like about his job. He also didn't like the rat race. He didn't like commuting long distances to work at a job he didn't like just to pay bills. He kind of felt like he was on a treadmill. And he was working just to pay his bills and, pass go. So he had a dream of retiring at 45 and sailing around the world. And he was really passionate about it. This is before the internet. He would read National Geographic magazine and check out all the ports. And he kind of had like a navigation plan. And he was following other people who were navigating around the world in magazines. And that was his dream. He dreamed of just taking 3 years off and sailing around the world. Of course, the dream really conflicted with the reality of, him being the major bread earner for a family of 7. So, he had 5 kids. So there was no way that he could see to make that happen, but that was his dream. And like a lot of dreams, it didn't really happen for him. My parents ended up getting divorced in the 70s when everybody else got divorced. And he had no chance of retiring at 45. So he did the next best thing. He moved to a tropical island in the Marshall Islands, and he bought himself a Hobie catamaran, and he started sailing around the atoll. And he would go from island to island on the atoll, and he would just check out the area and sail to his heart's content. He would work during the day as an engineer, and then on weekends he would sail. So at least he got to realize part of his dream. Before he got caught in a squall and his catamaran snapped in half, and luckily it had 2 holes, and he was out in the water for about 20 hours before they came and got him in a helicopter. So that was his sailing dream. It fell a little short, but at least he got to do something. What he did do was he saved up a lot of money while he was living on the government island and living in a dorm and working as an engineer. He saved up all his money, and he got to retire at 55. And so what he did was he moved to the most beautiful island in the area, the island called Ponape, which is known as the Garden Island in Micronesia. And his sailing days were over, but he got to live in the tropics. He remarried and had 6 more kids, so he raised a total of 11 kids. And he got to look at the ocean every day and read his magazines and enjoy the rest of his life, because he passed away early at 65. He didn't necessarily take care of his health. He smoked a lot, and he went out early. So the moral of the story is that if he hadn't have retired at 55, he would have not gotten any retirement. The person who took his job when he was working for the government contractor, there was always a guy trying to get his job. Somebody was always gunning for his job, and he told me the story about when he retired at 55. He said, here's the job. It's all yours now. And he said about 3 years later, they flew that guy out in a coffin. He just died on the job. So my dad didn't suffer that fate. He was smart enough to get out and get to see some of the world and do some of the things he wanted to do before he passed away. So the reason I've told you the whole story is not so much to tell you about my dad, but to tell you how this affected my early retirement dream. When I was young in my 20s and 30s and I was talking to my dad about this, I couldn't understand his thinking on it. I loved my job. I loved my career, unlike him, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I didn't think I was going to retire early. To be honest, I thought I was going to ride it all the way out until I was 65 and then start to collect my Social Security. And then something happened along the way. I started to get older, and I felt all the weight and the pressure of the job. And I didn't feel trapped in the rat race, but I started to plan my exit. I started to think about the freedom of living my life without someone else controlling my time. And I started to think about not being chained to a desk 40 hours a week and not being on call 24 hours a day for 25 years. And so I started to plan my exit, and I started to save heavily and pay my house off so I could go out early. And like my dad, I had a dream of going out at 55, and like my dad, it didn't quite happen. But I was able to get out at 58, and now I'm really enjoying this freedom and really enjoying my retirement. And I'm glad I planned for 55, because even though I came up short, like my dad, or I should say went longer, I still was able to realize my dream. And now I'm out hiking, traveling, and doing a lot of the fun stuff instead of working another 9 years until I get old in my desk. So that's my dad's story and my story. And I hope you found it interesting. If anyone's out there feeling trapped in the rat race, keep in mind that you can plan your way out. You can make changes, and you can realize your dreams. It just takes a dream, and it takes a vision, and it takes concrete steps towards it so that you can get out. And then that specifically means paying down all your debt and saving up money. You don't have to be a millionaire to become financially independent. You just have to have enough money to pay your bills for 25 years. And that's not as hard as it sounds, especially if you move away like my dad to a foreign country where it's a lot more affordable than where I live here in California. So that's our story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy my channel. And I hope you have an early retirement dream of your own that you're pursuing, or maybe you're already there. So God bless, and just let me know if you have any questions or comments. Near the end of the trail, I'm up at the top, and I just got about 20 minutes to get down. First thing I want to say is that, man, I felt strong today. I felt a lot better than last week. I guess having the ocean breeze in your face and hiking at sea level is a lot better than hiking at altitude at 98 degrees. Anyways, I feel good today. I'm not so disappointed about last week, and so I'm very happy about that. So I want to finish up this video talking about a very special place. This is called Pops's Bench. This story of Pops's Bench. There was an old man who used to come up here every day and look at the ocean. And when he passed away, his son carried a bench up here, put a little plaque on it. You can see right here. I'll put a picture in the thing. So his son carried it up here for him, put a little plaque on it in memoriam of his dad. I used to come up here a lot on my mountain bike, and it made me think about my dad. That's why I chose this spot to stop our filming, and even though I got 20 minutes to get back home. So Pops's Bench is pretty special to me. It's a neat place, and it's one of the little wonderful things up here that I look for when I hike or mountain bike up here. Anyways, let's call it for this week. We'll make another one next week, and we'll have a new subject, and hopefully something fun and interesting that you'll like. Thank you all for liking and subscribing my channel. I really appreciate seeing it grow, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my stories, and I enjoy your comments as well. So I'm wishing you all a life of health, happiness, and prosperity.